talking about the proficiency examination and why it's needed. Now, we're not getting into a story, although we will. But I'm the only one in the company that really pushes for this. So the CCRL proficiency exam once a year. And
twice a year.
Twice. Wow,
June
twice a year.
And December.
And it's pretty darn expensive.
And
be nice. Be nice. And it's a necessity if you want to do ASTMC 494, ASTMC 1709, any of these
is it really? Like, does it stipulate in there?
Yeah,
has
an
to be a
ASTMC
CCRL certified
1077 lab. And CCRL is an ASTMC 1077 approach. So it gives you a certification. Now, David, our principal engineer, Dr. David W. Harris, PhD, PE, FACE, FSEI,
XYZ.
So anyway, a lot of years in the industry, that's why I threw all those initials out. He made that statement that you need to be CCRL certified to be qualified
To run these.
And you know, there's a bunch of universities in there, and you saw all their eyes just go big like saucers.
Oh, I know none of them have any sort of certified lab, and quite frankly, I don't think most of them have things calibrated regularly either.
Okay, so that's one thing that CCRL forces you to do. Like,
That is true.
It forces you to get the calibration and keep
things
really
up
good
to date,
records.
To make sure that your equipment is working properly.
And you know,
Which is a fair, I mean,
if it's not, like we had a length extensometer break on us last month, and we needed to redo 4 mixes, shrinkage beams, because the thing was broken.
Okay.
Now, it's because of what we do with CCRL, or for CCRL, that forces us to do that, right?
Sure.
And now we have a stamp from them that says, hey,
Right.
we're pains in the asses to you twice a year and then once every 2 years. Here's your little freaking thing to hang out on the wall. Now, the only one in the company that fights for this, it is a huge sap and suck not only on resources, but on time and most of all materials.
I would not say most of all materials. I would say time and
Most
frustration.
of all time and materials.
And frustration.
So I want to wrap this up with, I'm the only one in the company who goes for it. The universities that we work with always question, why the hell do you guys even do that? Everybody that we talk to, minus the clients who need those 494s and 1709s, ask us why the hell do we do it? So I've already made my case as to why I think we should do it. Why do you think we shouldn't do it?
It's not that I feel like as long as you have a good process and you're keeping everything up to code, you're evaluating things regularly, I think there should be some sort of checks and balances to make sure that you are a quality lab. But the frustrating thing for me with CCRL, especially when it comes to the inspections, oftentimes they're not people who have actually worked in a concrete lab. So they'll be reading the ASTM and trying to make sure that you're doing it correctly, but they don't even
Know how to
fully
interpret it.
understand what the ASTM is saying, and that's what's so frustrating. You know, it's like if they were people who like had worked in the lab and actually understood what it meant, it would be easier for me to write those checks and to deal with it. But that's not what you're dealing with, and that's what's so frustrating.
And the other piece is they don't have a competitor.
They're like the IRS.
Oh, okay, wow.
That's
Draconian and all.
Dude, I'm just saying.
No, that,
Oh,
I don't know
come
if
on.
that was fair. Okay, maybe it was.
Come on.
So, what it has forced us to do, and this is actually a good thing, right? You know, I remember when I was once a young man,
Sure.
and I was told I was never going to be an engineer. And the person
Really?
who told me, and the person who told me, they actually took the time to open up a book and read from the list that they wrote out.
As to why you wouldn't?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But that being said, Whitney's right. You know, when they come in here, they don't know the ASTMs.
Right.
And, you know, there are times that there's a debate on the interpretation. And I will say this, in their defense, while I'm bashing them, ASTMs are very hard to read and very hard
That
to
is true.
interpret. And if you don't use them, and you're only reviewing them right before you take a trip to do a certification, or you get a webinar or some type of educational seminar on what the ASTMs that you're going to be, reviewing on
Sure.
with these different groups, Whitney has a point that it's very hard to work with people like that, especially when there are times that that they are wrong.
Well, the other thing is too, they're inconsistent.
Right.
Some of them are be like, oh, do a butter mix, and other ones are like, you don't have to do a butter mix, and it's.
Well, we actually had one person walk out of the room because we followed the ASTM, as you'll see, to the letter. I get what Whitney's saying. I really do, and we still have a dent in our wall from one of those inspectors coming over here, and that's really the only memorable thing that we got out of that. So, what it has forced us to do is be the experts on the ASTMs that we're going after. And like even writing out index cards as if we're taking the test through ACI.
Sure.
So it's forced us to bring our game up, especially when it comes to calibration, and it's actually done wonders for us. So I know it's a pain in the butt, but it's a necessity for the road that we are currently on with the services that we offer. And despite the fact that I'm the only one, even if I wasn't the only one, even if none of us liked it, we would still do it. Now, that being said, CCRL, if you're watching, you've got a client. We pay you for this. And we're complaining. Now, I know that might give us a black eye, and we actually might do worse on our test, but the funny thing is, I don't understand how this business model works. That's my biggest problem. Because if you get a certain number of dings,
Right.
you have to get retested every year. If you get less than that magic number, you only have to get tested every 5 years.
Right.
So it kind of behooves them to create an inspection where you fail more. I try to see it from the altruistic side, but
Well, the other thing is too, be consistent. Like, how
I
are
think
you?
that's tough. I think I hear what you're saying. I think that CCRL definitely needs a competitor.
Agreed. And then they would have to step up their game.
And they would step up their game. Thank you very much, CCRL, what you have forced us to do. Our company has really grown because of it, but your business model needs some work, and I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
And it's not just our opinion, it's everybody's opinion who we know
Right.
who goes through CCRL. Literally, every concrete and asphalt lab that we know who does that CCRL and then the AMRL, if they do it through that company, I
Right.
don't know if they're the same. The consistency comes in this discussion.
Right. Absolutely.
So, hope y'all learned something. Wasn't the funnest one, but straight to the point.
Right.
We don't pull any punches.
That's right.
Hammer
Justice.
and justice. Go concrete!
Beat asphalt.